and he is currently working as a cloud infra architecture. So this is a quick demo for on Kubernetes and Docker. Just this quick introduction about Subrat. Subrat, over to you. Please take care.
Thank you, Neil. Hello, everyone. Okay. So before starting anything, okay, just I need to understand what is the background of that one. So that it will be easy for me to, focus on that particular area rather than spending time on here and there things. So
So,
Ujjal, yeah.
so we have almost 8+ year experience in
Uh-huh.
information security,
Okay.
wherein we have done several projects, which were consist Red Hat Linux based project as well. At present, we
Okay.
are in InfoSec where VAPT, security assessment, architect, these things we do.
Okay.
So seeking Kubernetes, since this is new technology, even in my firm, we are in Azure environment, we have Kubernetes projects. So basically
Okay.
seeking Kubernetes security, but come to know that without CK exam administrative knowledge, we can't go in directly in the security. So our end goal is to learn Kubernetes security. So prior to move that, we are seeking extensive practical knowledge.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
So
Ujjwal
same
has
for you
raised hand.
also.
Ujjwal
Okay.
has
Same
raised
for you
hands.
also. Sorry. Sorry, Akash.
Ujjwal has raised hand.
Yeah, go ahead, Akash. I think Ujjwal had given the introduction, right?
No, Ujjwal, you want to speak?
Ujjwal?
You are on
Uh,
mute.
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. So myself, Ujjwal, I have more than 10 years of experience in InfoSec. So mostly I deal in DevSecOps, strategy, governance processes. Uh, Currently working as an lead consultant, taking care of AppSec and container security. So just want to have more in-depth knowledge on Kubernetes and cloud. That's what we are looking for. Back to you, man.
Okay. So we can start with Docker part, but prior to that one, I need to understand that do you have a knowledge on Git and all these things, because this is also very important because we are going to use the Git for all our lab environment.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. Don't know about Akash, but I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. What about you, Akash?
Bit aware about what is Docker. That's all.
No,
Theoretical
Git,
knowledge only. No, not
Git
not
part.
aware about Git. Git is
Okay.
something
Because
repository where
exactly, because
various
whatever
kinds of
things we are going
information loaded.
to
Yeah.
write, correct, that particular code base we are going to store on a centralized repository. So before focusing on Docker or Kubernetes, right, we need to learn that part also, which is very, very important, right? So if you are already aware of that one, then we can skip that particular part and we can focus on Docker and Kubernetes only.
Yeah, fine. So whatever easiest and you can understand, you can just provide short demo so that accordingly
Uh,
we can schedule.
yeah, I'm good with the if you go ahead with bypassing GitHub, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So thing is that nowadays, right, everyone is moving to the container world, right? So what benefit companies are getting, or what benefit the the developers are getting, what benefit the operation teams are getting. That's why they are trying to, do all this stuff with your DevOps approach, or we can say a containerization approach or orchestration way. What is the main thing? Why we are looking for all this stuff? So what is your understanding on DevOps part? What exactly you think about what is a DevOps?
Something very specialized, we can say environment, secured environment where we can run our applications. And also we need to consider resource crunch, like hardware crunch especially. Like as per availability requirement, like we are in normal scenario, we are using load balancer, big hardware, etc. So by using this Kubernetes, so many things we can make automate, make more efficient application. Apart from this, we can also make some more security, because that everything is scalable. That is our broad understanding.
Okay. So main focus here is the automation part, correct? We are actually doing the automation, right? So how we are automating it? What are the things we are automating?
So yeah, so by the name itself, DevOps says that you are automating development, you are automating operations, right? So you want to achieve the scalability, you want to achieve the you want to do a new way of working in an agile way. So yeah, so you want to like automate your infrastructure side, how you can build infrastructure through automation, how can you deploy your application through automation, how can you integrate security into through automation. So everything.
That's correct. So in order to understand this DevOps in more details, right? So first of all, we have one, I can give you one, example. Okay. Assume that you are a developer, correct? And you have developed one application, for example, Java application or Python application, right? So in order to run that Java or Python application, you need a runtime, correct? Maybe Java XYZ version or Python 2.6 or some version and that, right? Some libraries and some other dependencies, right? So you have done all these things, you downloaded, you installed, you make the application run on the local system. It's okay, correct? You're happy now that your whatever code you have written, it's working perfectly fine. There is no problem on that one. So you move ahead and try to deploy the same package on your QA environment, where on your QA side, okay, you feel that okay, the Python version is little bit more than the development side, correct? So currently, which is okay, you can adjust that one. Okay, there is no such risk involved on that. So you told okay, we can go ahead with that. Later on, we can fix that. Okay. Now, when it comes to the production one, now we always know that production environment is 2 step or 1 step backward than our dev or QA environment.
Subrat, I think we lost you. Can you hear us? Subrat? Amit, can you hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear you, Neil.
Okay, I think Subrat.
Yeah, Neil, I can hear you.
Okay. I think Subrat lost connectivity maybe.
Yeah, let's give him a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
right? So in that case, what we can do in order to resolve that one, if something is working on one environment, something is not working on a different one, right? So in order to resolve that particular part, we can think about, okay, if something is working on that one, can we make this as completely as a package, right? And once we make this entire application as a package, right, it can work on all the environment, right? If it is working on my laptop, it can work on your laptop also. So in order to resolve this issue, actually this Docker came into the picture, right? So when we talk about, again, come back to the DevOps part, right? It has different cycle. You might have seen the diagram of that one, the infinity symbol, right? So we have different phases on that one, right? Plan,
Are you
deploy.
sharing your screen?
Okay, 1 second. Let me take one picture. Do you see my screen?
Yes, Subrat. I can see your
Okay.
screen.
So this is the, complete DevOps life cycle, I can say, right? It has different phases here. So first one is the plan, code, build, test, release, deploy, operation, right? Then monitor, and then the feedback again will go to the developer, and then again it will start, right? So when we try to do something, we first plan, okay, that we have to develop our application in this way, right? We plan that one. So once after plan is finished, then we are start to develop that one. So this is particularly the development part, right? The developer start writing the code, right? And here this particular code, right, where we are using, which tool we are using to represent this particular code. So there are several tools here on this, right? Either you can use Git, your GitHub, right? GitLab, that Bitbucket, TFS, SVN, any repository you can name it, right? It's part of this particular code, this one here, right? Then once you create your, or once you done with your development side, now in order to do something, right, you have to build it first, right? If we consider typically a Java based application, so once the developer has written the code in the Java language, they need to build that one, right? The build will be nothing but your jar file, war file, or EAR file typically, right? So in order to build that one, or in order to get that jar or war file, which build tool we are using it, right? So we have Maven, we have Gradle, we have Ant, we have MS Build, PyBuild, so many things depending on the language, whatever you have written the code, right? So once you build that one, then come to the testing part, right? So here typically developer use that one. They use Selenium to do the testing part, right? One tester has approved that, okay, this build is okay and all that. They will go for the release process. They will create a particular version and all here, and they will send a release note, right? Then the operation work will start from here, right? Once they will get the release, they will try to deploy that one. So how they are going to deploy this particular package or this build, right? There are so many deployment tools are available, configuration management tools like your Ansible, Chef, Puppet, Salt. These are the tools comes under here, right? Then come to the operation part here, correct? So in this operation part, what exactly we are doing? Any idea? What exactly we are doing here? After deployment, operate. Activities, exactly.
Like
Correct.
log review
And
to, yeah.
yes. And then we are monitoring that also, right? So once we monitor that one, maybe the monitoring separate team or the operation guy are responsible for monitoring that particular application, they will provide the feedback. Okay, after deployment, something is not working, or we are getting high alert or XYZ problem, right? And that particular feedback, right, from what we are getting from the monitor will again go to the developer. So for that particular feedback, again, they will plan it, how to resolve that one. So in order to resolve that, once they will do the plan and they are started writing the code again, and again same process will continue. So it's infinity, correct? It's symbol of infinity. Now who is actually doing all these things? Two ways. Either you can do it manually, right? All the things manual process, or again there is one more dedicated tool for that, right? Most of the organization, they use this particular tool called Jenkins. I know you must have heard about this particular tool, which is a CI/CD, right? Continuous integration and continuous delivery or the deployment side. So this is the complete of your DevOps here, right? Once we get that one, we can deploy, we can monitor, we can do all this. Now, where exactly are Docker and Kubernetes fits here? Where exactly? Any idea?
This deploy part.
Are you sure on the deploy part this will fit? Any guesses?
Because you will deploy and then other everything you can manage. Means operation part, monitoring part will be minimal.
Okay. So
I'm just saying.
yes. So a typical example, like currently your organization not using any Docker or Kubernetes, you are just deploying your application on a VM, correct? It can be on-premises VM, or it can be your cloud-based VM, wherever it, right? So when we are deploying that one, so many things we have to consider, right? So currently your application version has already deployed into that, right? And you are again doing a rollout, or you can say release. So in that case, sometimes what we have done, we have already informed to our stakeholder that okay, on this particular date we are going for a release, or we're going for a deployment. So based on this particular time period, application will not be available, right? If it is single machine. Now, in order to overcome that one, we can think, okay, why we are not thinking about high availability? So in that case, again, we have to deploy another VM, and on that one, we'll deploy our code and then load balance it. So this process, again, little bit hectic. So instead of doing all these things, right, still it is not solving whether it is working on your laptop or your PC, it will work on that particular VM or not, right? So to resolve that one, what we can do, we can Dockerize our application, right? Whatever code you have written here, we need to think, how can we Dockerize it? So in order to Dockerize our application, right, simple, this is your file. Sorry. This is your code base, right? Your code is there. And in order to Dockerize this application, right? Dockerize this application, what we need a Docker file, right? We need a Docker file. So this Docker file means we have to define what are the steps you are going to perform in order to create a Docker image. So once we create this, okay, for example, this is the Docker image created. Now where we are going to store this Docker image, that is also a problem. We are not going to store it locally, or we are not going to store on any particular VM, right? Again, it will be a single point of failure. So in order to store in a centralized, we have to think about, okay, where can we store? So it can be stored on a centralized repository system called the Docker Hub, right? Or you can create public repository or private repository based on your project need. Also, you can host this particular repository on your on-premises. So no need to go to your cloud-based approach. So once you get your Docker image, right, then you can create a Docker container, right? So this is your Docker container. So this Docker container, once you will run it, right, once we get our image and once we run that particular image, it will create a container. And this container hold your code base along with all the dependencies, binaries, and libraries to make your application run 100%. So if it is working on your local machine, definitely it will work on this remote machine also. So if it is working now, you can access the application, right? Now you are happy. Okay, this is working. Now there is one more problem. So when we actually create this container, it's rely on a single host, right? It's a Docker where the Docker engine you have installed. There only you can create this Docker container, right? So this is your Docker engine or Docker host where the Docker engine is running. Now what will happen, right, if this Docker host or this particular VM crashed? Or what will happen if your container crashed? Again, you have to monitor it, right? You have to monitor this particular process. I mean, the health of your application, the health of your container, the health of your VM, the underlying host, where the container is actually running. If something goes wrong, you have to take immediate action, right? But I don't want to do all this manual process. So how can I orchestrate all these things? So in order to orchestrate, right, when it comes to multiple hosts, now Docker is particularly limited to a host only, single hardware, right? But when it comes to multiple hardware where you have installed your Docker host, Docker engine, right? So in that case, either you can go ahead with your Docker Swarm, which is the cluster mode approach, or you can do this with the help of Kubernetes, which is the container orchestration tool, where you can manage multiple Docker hosts with the help of Kubernetes. So in order to use the same thing, right, create one your Docker container, right, we have to again write one specification in the YAML format or YAML syntax that is called the pod, which is the smallest unit on our Kubernetes part. So here we have to write
language YAML something dictionary. We need to. If I'm not from development background, then is it fine for us?
No, not required. We are going to use the syntax. We are going to use the syntax.
Okay.
So I mean, in-depth knowledge of your YAML is not required on this. Even I am not a developer. Okay.
Okay, so you are also taking care of Kubernetes security?
No, not at all.
Okay, but we can get chance to learn that part as well, or only
Yes, we can. We can explore
Yes.
more into that particular part. See, thing is that when it comes to security and all, right, it's completely customizable, right? So my company are looking for a different security aspect than your companies, correct? There are so many things we have to consider as a part of security and all, and it's very difficult to gather all these things in one scenario, and very difficult, impossible to cover all the scenarios as well, correct?
Right. So here we will learn from the installation, from Linux installation to this
Linux
Docker and then
installation,
Kubernetes.
yes.
So where
Kubernetes,
we will
yes.
get chance?
So after that one, how can we secure our pod? How can we secure all these things? That particular part we are going to learn it.
Okay, and where, no, asking like from where I can get practice.
Okay,
You
so
will
practice
provide
lab.
that?
Okay, so see, we are going to use our Google Cloud. Okay, I will. We can create a Google Cloud, account. Now it's absolutely free. Okay, free for 90 days, and once you sign up, right, successfully sign up, you will get 21,000 of amount, INR amount, and you can use that particular 21,000 in 90 days, which is more than enough to learn Docker and your Kubernetes.
That's nice. But in Azure, basically, in my environment, I have Azure and AWS. But Azure, I think, little bit costly because here only 200 something.
See, thing is that, frankly speaking, if we want to learn something, right, we have to, build it by our own instead of going with as a service.
Okay.
If we go with the service approach, right, we cannot learn how to create Kubernetes cluster, what are the components required, how they can talk to each other, right?
Right. So for
So
that,
that's why,
what
correct.
is your
So that's why we are
how you
not
will
going
guide?
to use that. Sorry.
So means how we will perform such practice?
We'll be creating by our own from the scratch. We'll be creating multiple VMs. Okay.
So in our
And
machine and somewhere
on
else?
Google Cloud. On Google Cloud, yes. On Google Cloud, as I told, this is completely free, right? 21. Even I can share with you that currently I'm also using that free one. Let me share it. If you can see here, right? So many I deleted 4 or 5 VMs, and remaining days you can also see 39 days remaining. Okay, and 13,000 some amount still pending.
Yeah, Subrat, even for my Windows lab and PowerShell lab is going on both GCP only. It is the best platform for learner, Akash and Ujjwal. So if you go to the AWS and Azure, right, it will be a very limited resource. But if you additionally want to take, it will be chargeable. But every trainer and student,
I can tell you that you can use AWS. I'm not going to deny that one, but on AWS side, as a free tier member, you cannot use other than T2.micro, correct? And T2.micro is having only 1 GB of RAM and 1 virtual CPU. So as a part of Kubernetes installation, we need at least 2 virtual CPU and 4 to 8 GB of RAM at least. So if you are going to use AWS, for sure we have to pay some amount. So why to pay a single paisa if something is already available free of cost? Correct. And also I can help you what exactly this Sonar and Nexus and all this whenever we have time, right? This is out of complete syllabus, but I can give you some idea about that one, a complete CI/CD and all. Okay.
So in how many days we will cover this CK and the security part?
So Saturday, Sunday, or only Saturday, Sunday, right?
Saturday, Sunday we have time, but also in working days we can get some time.
Working days, yeah, working days currently not possible for me.
So you are which region now at present in India?
Sorry?
You are where put in Delhi or somewhere else?
No, actually, I work in Bangalore, but currently
Okay.
I'm in my hometown. I work for Schneider Electric.
Okay. So how many days if weekend class or in a week 3 class? Because we have to also do practice, extensive practice. So in how many days we can complete practical knowledge?
Docker and Kubernetes required minimum 10 hours.
Okay.
Okay, 10 to 12 hours minimum required to finish all
And
this.
it will also come included practice time or
See, practice time, this is completely hands-on. Okay, if you want to follow with me, you can, or I can create the machine, I can share with you and all this.
okay. So almost
See,
in
it
10 to
completely
15 hours.
depends. So you have, if you want to go with 30 hours, 40 hours also, it's fine, right? We can spend that one. So basically 15 hours is, frankly speaking, 15 or 10 hours is only for the trainer. For practicing and all, we can do it on double.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
So some will say that, okay, we can practice along with you and all. So in that case, 15 hours or 10 hours is not sufficient for that one.
Correct. So about exam, how exam means after training immediate, we were able to give exam or how?
I will not recommend to go immediately on that.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to practice, right? Once you get the confidence, then only. So again, it's completely your call, but I can suggest you. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not only 40 hours or 30 hours, right? Once we have joined, once we create this WhatsApp group and all these things, as long as we are alive, right, we can freely chat. We can share our doubts, correct?
Sure. Sure.
And this is
How about this?
completely your hands-on. Okay. First we'll learn about theoretical part, and just to prove that, okay,
So
theory is actually
do
working or
we
not.
have, it also requires some practical knowledge on Linux and other environments?
Exactly. We are going to do each and everything on Linux only. I am a dumb guy on Windows side, completely 10 years into Linux.
Sure. So means I have knowledge, but not hardcore Linux admin. But in security, whatever I learned, so that is. But from the sketch level, we need to learn.
No problem. So if you are not familiar with Linux commands and all these things, right? Before starting that one, if you can tell me, okay, these are the things we are lacking and we would like to learn something on this particular part, right? We can spend at least 2 or 3 hours on that particular Linux commands and all. Then we can move further to learn Docker and Kubernetes.
Okay. So we have like 4 days holiday from tomorrow to Monday. So in this scenario, can we get time or when we can expect get live class?
Saturday, this weekend, I don't think so, because I'm going to travel. Okay. Saturday, Sunday. But for sure, next, 9th onwards, we can start. And you can get more information from Neil also regarding that.
Sure. So meanwhile, do you recommend any resource where we need to go through?
I can suggest you to go through this Kubernetes documentation, because in our lab scenario, right, we are going to focus on that particular part to write our specification.
Okay, sure. Okay, then we'll connect with Neil and Amit and update
Sure.
you.
Yep.
Thank
And
you
if
so
you have
much
any
for your
further
time.
question,
Yeah.
you can reach out to Neil on that. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you.
So
Yeah. Bye-bye.
is it done, Subrat?
Yes, Neil.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for your time, Subrat,
Yeah.
during this
Thank
weekdays
you.
time. Yeah. And if you have any questions, Akash and Visual, you can reach out to Amit. And yeah, if you have any further plan, we can discuss with Amit. Okay.
Sure.
Shall I wind up this today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.